Welcome to the Ladies Talk Show. This is your host, Leah Richeimer. How fun is this? We are in communication. We have got barrels of questions. I'm not going to do reading and marriage secrets this week because we are going right in. We had so many questions left over from chapter 9. We're going to go right into it. So go ahead, Gila. What do you got for me?
Okay, so Rivka asks, I don't think I share enough with my husband because I've heard from friends that they're always crying to their husbands and I almost never do. I'm just not a crier and I'm not that emotional. Truthfully, I know I haven't been vulnerable with my husband in a long time, but our relationship is great and we both feel close to each other. Is there something I need to work on?
No, it's good if you're not a complainer. Complaining isn't really what I mean by communicating. It's most like sharing your life, what's going on with you. It can include complaints if they're not done in such a morose fashion that it just brings everybody down. You could say I had a hard day and it's a little bit challenging, and this one, whatever causes issues with this kid or whatever. Try not to say lashon hara, but if your husband can help, that kind of thing. So it doesn't, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I think you're fine. I just would question if you're able to, the word I'm looking for, if you're able to share fully with him. And if you listen to him enough, maybe bump up your question asking of your husband. That would be the only thing that might help to bump up your closeness that you already have. Good question. Okay, good. What else?
Great. Okay, so Gitty asks, my husband and I had a difficult decision to make, and after some intense conversations, we decided to go with what I wanted, even though I said that I would do what he wanted. But every time something comes up connected to the decision, my husband gets upset because he doesn't think we made the right choice, and he resents me for making him feel like he had to choose what I wanted. I feel very hurt, and it keeps happening.
So the question is, did you bully him in the first place? Was it a thought out conversation and you both made the decision, or was it just a bullying situation where you just controlled the situation and pushed him so far deep into the he didn't have a choice? That's what it sounds like, because that would cause this kind of reaction and this kind of resentment and this kind of pushback, so to speak. If, on the other hand, you had, both come to the conclusion together, you weighed out all the options and your idea seemed smarter and better, and it went that way, then what he's doing isn't fair. Okay. And you need to call him out on it and say, listen, we, at the time you agreed fully. I mean, right now, anyone can look back on an opinion, a decision, especially if it's not going as great as they think it should be, and say, oh, we should have done this, should have done that. I hear that, but we're both culpable in that, not just it's me who made the decision. I proposed this thing. I felt strongly about it. So and we decided together. So you have to weigh that out. Only you can answer that question. Being very straight with yourself and honest and say, yeah, I really did push him. I did bully him. I didn't behave, like thinking back on it, it's not what we do right or wrong. It's whether we do something wrong and make mistakes and then we correct them and learn from them. That's the key, ladies. So if if you look back and you're like, oh, I didn't handle that the best way, and you would own that to him, you can say, listen, I should, thinking back on it, I would behave differently next time than I behaved last time. I think I was a little pushy on it, and I'm sorry, but please don't blame me on me anymore. We all make mistakes, that kind of thing. Very, very good question. Important how to go forward in such a situation. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, great. Jasmine asks, my husband has complained that I unintentionally ignore him, and it's true. He's just such a big talker that if I'm busy with something or distracted, I unintentionally block him out and don't even realize. How do I work on this? It's good that she's admitting it, at least.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm not sure. I don't really understand the part of how can you block if he's still talking, and he's saying, oh, and then we won't.
She has a million other thoughts running in her head.
Oh, I see what you're saying. You mean she's just not focused on what he's saying.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So then I would set up a logistic thing with him and say, I really love you. I totally, totally want to be there for you. I want to listen to you and to receive everything you're giving me and to know it. I just have a smaller capacity than I would hope I would have, and maybe it'll grow. But I think if it's possible for us to have like 20-minute chunks of conversations, like if it's over 20 minutes, my mind starts wandering on other things, and then I feel like I'm hurting you and being mean to you, and that's the last thing I want to do. But my brain capacity can only handle 20 minutes or 15 minutes or 30 minutes or 1 hour, or maybe he's talking for 3 hours, whatever. I reach a point, and then it's just like I drop out. So is there a way, and again, you're handing the problem to him and you're saying, is there a way we can figure out where I can totally be there for you without hurting your feelings? And then see how that goes. It's a trial and error. It's a good question. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Here's an interesting one. My husband's mother does everything for his father, and I mean everything. Do I have to do the same, or can I find an equilibrium?
It's a good question. Depends on what your capacity is, what the work divisions between the family. If you're working, if you're a full-time mom and he's full-time working, the divisions are different. If you're both full-time working, the divisions are different. So it really depends on the logistics of your life and how that looks. But let's say, you're both working full-time, and there's no way humanly possible you could do what his mother did, unless she also works full time and she also did it. Then you got a high bar to pass to jump over. But you just need to have good communication about it. You just need to say, I know your mom, served your dad dinner and cleaned all the dishes and did, everything. I just physically can't do it while I'm working full time. If you're a full time mom, then it's your responsibility for those kinds of things as a division of labor. But then you can't make yourself crazy. So guess what, ladies? If you fill the sink with water or a tub with washed water and keep the dishes in there, the next day they're still there. You don't have to go to bed. I know some people say, "Oh, I can't go to bed with it until every dish is done and okay." Maybe the mishigas is strong, but if you could ease yourself up on a few things, not all the toys don't have to be put in exactly in the correct bucket every day. Whatever it is that makes your day added level of stress and hardship or whatever you can lessen in your life to make that easier so that you're not upset with your husband, that would be the way to go. Okay, good question.
Okay, great. So Mindel's question is, my husband doesn't handle stress well. Whenever things go wrong, I always have to be the strong one that he leans on, and I'm starting to resent never being able to lean on him. When I try, it just stresses him out even more. What should I do?
So there's two issues here. One issue is that you have a situation where you think it should be different. You know what I mean? Like God gave me this man, but it's the wrong man because he's, leaning on me, when he's stressed out, and I need a husband who doesn't lean on me when he's stressed out, So, the first issue is that your expectations and what you have are misaligned, and there's only one solution for that, which is waking up. Like this, and it's helpful to wake up by saying, why did Hashem give me a man like this? What am I meant to learn? What am I meant to grow from? Why is this good for me? It's obviously very, very good for us. Everything Hashem does is for the good. So to really dig deep in that, like, oh, this really made me more capable, more strong, more able to withstand, to be resilient, whatever it is that you could possibly learn, unpack that, dig deep down to figure that out. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that if you're, there's something about your question that's kind of like you're a little bit of a martyr, like I have it so tough, what part of you and your childhood and your history and your maybe potentially dysfunctional patterns or trauma or drama that you've been through, have you kind of create in your life a situation where you don't get to lean on anybody? Maybe you've created that. Maybe it's his fault, totally, but it's worthwhile to explore why or how might you be creating that in your life? What are the benefits from you from doing that? For instance, it's like, I feel better than superior to my husband, or I feel like I'm right, he's wrong, or I feel like, I have it so tough. And you get, maybe as a child, you got a lot of credit for, like, anybody who played the violin the loudest. Oh, I have this and this happened and this happened, and got the most attention. I don't know what the psychology is. If you're curious, you can read books about it, or you can go to a therapist, or you can talk to a rebbitz, and you can find somebody to talk to and delve in there. But I wouldn't automatically assume, hey, this is your fault, guy. Why are you like this? You're not meeting my expectations. And exploring all these various things will help, hopefully, God willing, open it up for you, unpack it so you can look at it and see what's there. And then Emir Tashem, you can communicate with your husband. You can have insight in yourself and not be so demanding of him, of what you expect of him. You will be spending more time, giving yourself self-care so that you have somebody who does a lot of self-care and hobbies and crafts, or reading or walking, or somebody who has that in their life is a lot less, these things take up less presence in your mind. It's like you're busy doing other things as well. So all of these things all put together, God willing, will help you to be able to get on the other side of this, because it's an issue that needs to be addressed. And you asked a good question. Okay, go ahead, Gila.
Okay. Devorah's question is, how do we work on not getting annoyed by certain attributes of our husbands that bother us? Like tardiness, laziness. Are we supposed to communicate how we feel, or just learn to love and accept them?
So good news is that learning to love them and accept them for the way they are is the best way to change them. So if you try and change and you go direct, they ain't going to happen. So that's the first thing. So you just know, a blanket across the board, accept. And let's say your husband's lazy and it's causing problems with your parnasa, or it's causing problems with, nothing feels like it's moving forward. There's a molasses there. The light bulb doesn't get changed. The things just don't go done around the house. And that's causing you a lot of aggravation, a lot of frustration, which is totally understandable. If you just are thinking, okay, this is who my husband gave, this is who God gave me, this is the husband Hashem gave me. I got somebody who's lazy. What are workarounds? What are some creative ways around it? Oh, I'm going to, get a tall ladder. A little ladder is $34, and a big one, maybe it's $130, I don't know, whatever, and a big one is 15% more, 30% more to get the taller ladder. But I'm going to have that in the house. I'm going to put it underneath the light bulb that needs to be. I'm going to take the number 60 light bulb, or 100, whatever it is. I'm going to set it on top of the ladder, and then I'm going to have a chocolate bar sitting on the top of the ladder. Okay. And here's the story. If you go in, there's a surprise waiting for you in the laundry room. Whenever your husband goes in there, like, get creative in how to make your life better, your husband's life better. It brings a lightness and a happiness in it. He might get mad at it. You have to know your husband. He might say, what are you doing? This is called coercion. This is called manipulation. You're like, I was trying to be sweet and nice and make it easy on you. Or you would get a workaround. I got a lazy husband. I'm going to, this year, we're going to spend $500 on maintenance crew, whatever. We don't have $500. So what am I going to do? I'm going to, take home some extra grading reports from school and earn that extra money. I'm just being like a little crazy. I'm just saying, in other words, there's a way around things that, if you get a little creative, if you're not the creative type, talk to a friend who is creative and say, I need to solve this. What kind of solutions can you possibly think of to come up with this, to make this more shalom bias in my home? Because this is really bugging me. My husband's lazy, and why did Hashem give me a lazy husband? Maybe he's trying to bring out you in you, make you more productive, or maybe he's trying to make you more chilled. It's okay if the light bulb doesn't get changed, like, that's not the end of the world. Although maybe it is, maybe you, but I'm just saying, you have to figure out what might Hashem want you to learn from this thing, because everything he does, everything God does, is for our own benefit. And if we look deeper, we can see that. Doesn't mean you can't take these other actions to try and improve the situation and get creative to figure out ways around them. But I hear the frustration. I get that it's, the resentments can build and that it's not the way that you would wish it to be. But the first thing is accepting it the way it is. That's if you're trying to force him, it's not going to work. But if you're kindly about it, that's, your husband might actually get a little bit motivated to help. And then the other thing is to introspect and get creative. Okay. Very, very good questions today. Okay. We have time for another one.
Yeah, we have time for about two more.
Okay.
So Roni asks, how do I know if I'm being an overbearing wife or if I'm acting normally? My friends and I never discuss the details of our marriages, so I wouldn't know. I get worried when I don't know where my husband is and it's getting late, and I always end up calling him to see where he is, and he ends up telling me that he feels trapped and that I sound like an anxious mother. Am I crazy?
Actually, the husband has a halachic obligation to tell his wife where he is at all times. You need to check that. That's something that I heard from someone else. I don't have a direct source for that, but I heard it from a reliable source. So double check that. But in any case, even if it's not a halachic obligation, it's certainly a nice way to be a mensch. So she needs to somehow, in the nicest, sweetest, yummiest, delicious way, be able to convert that to him, to be able to share that with him and say, it's a known thing. I think it's in Gemara, something about tell her husband to look it up, or whatever. But something about that every wife wants to know where her husband is, and so I'm going out grocery shopping after if it's they don't have it at this shop, and then I'm going to that shop, and then I'm coming home, or then I'm going off to shul, or then I'm going whatever. It's a intrinsic need of a woman, and men cannot understand this. It's like if you say, "Oh, I'm going out shopping. I'll be back at 3," right? It'll be 7:00 and you'll walk in the door at, let's say your phone died. You didn't get a chance to call him. It'll be 7:00. You walk in the door and they'll say, "Oh, hi, how's everything?" Right? If he says, "I'm coming home, I'll be home at 3:00," it's 3:01. You are positive the police are coming and banging on your door. You're positive that it's like life is over as you currently know it. That's just the way women are. So it is an obligation of the husband to keep that terror that a wife feels. It's real. It's not a joke. It's real. I don't know why women have it. And it could be an overgeneralization. You yourself may not, some women who are watching that's like, "Oh, I don't have that. I could care less," whatever. But I'm just saying for the majority of women, it's like 3:01 and you're like, sure, there's going to be blood everywhere. God forbid, it's like, whatever. That's just a woman's way. So this needs to be explained to him, not in a way, "You need to do that. You need to whatever. And it's a Gemara," or if it is, I don't know, no, if it's given over that way, it's going to be worse. By the way, people who are listening in the audio, so when I went, that means I'm like slicing my neck. God forbid. This is a really pleasant show. But I'm just saying, it's very bad news. So, but if it's handled properly and you say, "Listen, sweetheart, I love you so much. I love everything about you. I love your feet. I love your toes. I love your head. I love you. I love you. I love you." And if it's 3:01 and you come home, and by the way, it's not just me. This is the way women are. So it's not like, other women will let their husbands come and go without knowing where they are. This is a need of a woman. It's a terrifying. Women get terrified. So please don't take this out on me. Don't make my life harder than it already is. I'm not trying to control you. I'm not trying to micromanage you. I just, need a generalization of where you are. Now, flip the other side. I'm not an expert in control freak husbands or addiction, men who are addicted to controlling or that are, there are some mental health issues where a man says, "Who did you call? Where did you go? Where have you been?" That's creepy and bad. And, that's not this. That's a separate whole category. I don't really understand how to fix that. And if you have a husband who is controlling you in that way, or you're controlling your husband in that way, a therapist needs to be brought in. But in terms of just a general thing of he's gone for hours and you don't know what, should you have dinner ready? Is he coming home? What's happening? That's just derech eretz. That's just, how do you translate derech eretz?
Common decency.
Common decency. Thank you. That's just common decency of being a mensch. So it's not that you're weird. but you need to give it. How you give this over to him makes all the difference in the world. Excellent question. Thank you. I'm sure a lot of people have that question. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so Sarah's question is, I try to be very loyal to my husband and think I'm pretty good at it. My husband is too, except for one thing. When his parents are around, he always takes their side. He has incredible kibbud aim, and I think it stems from there. I would hate to hurt him because he takes special care in this mitzvah. How do I discuss it with him without hurting him? So consider it.
Beautiful, lovely question. Except that he's breaking a halacha d'oraisa. Other than that, that's let me just think this one through, because this is not such an easy thing. He has a halachic obligation to take his wife's side over both of his parents. Kibbud aim is a beautiful mitzvah, but it's secondary to shalom bayis and to making your wife happy. His primary obligation is to you, even at the detriment or the loss of his parents. I mean, in other words, if a husband's parents are putting down the wife or making, deriding her or making her feel badly in any way, he needs to cut off his relationship with them. I mean, I don't mean to be so harsh and disgusting, and for sure call a Rav before, don't take this is not a psak halacha, hello, time out, whatever. But you have to know his obligation is to be loyal to her and to stick by her, more important than kibbud aim. So how does she give that over to her husband in a way that he can hear? So very, very brilliant question. And it's kind of like, I want to get a little sneaky on this, because if she tells it to him, no matter how it goes, it kind of would be a little bit hard. If she can talk to the Rebbetzin, and tell her the situation, have her husband, the Rav, give over a drash at shul the next week about how a man should put his wife ahead of his parents, that would be ideal. Now, the fact that it could possibly get back to him and he would hear no, and then he's embarrassed in front of the Rav, because there's too many downsides to that kind of thing, but that would be the ideal. But for all of you mother-in-laws, if your son is taking your side over your daughter-in-law's side, very hard what I'm about to say, but it's crucial. This will earn you your olam haba in one go, I think. I don't know. What do I know? Again, I'm not a Rav, so I'm just being a little ridiculous. But if your son were to take your side and say, "Oh, okay, you think that it's much better to let Shmuley do the sleepover, even though my wife thinks it's wrong. Okay, let's let him do the sleepover, whatever." If you're the mother-in-law, your answer is, if your wife thinks that they should not have a sleepover, your wife has a sixth sense about these things, and you should listen to your wife. That's what a mother-in-law needs to do, should do. Listen to your wife, dearest son. Okay, so that's first of all. I hope you heard that loud and clear. For those of you who are having a difficult time with this, hit rewind and listen to that again, okay? Very, very crucial. You stay out of it. I had the most horrible thing. I asked to go to, why are there so many divorces in Klal Yisrael, and they're younger ones, and it's miserable, please. I thought he was going to give me some answer of, what his answer? Because of in-law interference. I want to tear my hair out, my sheikhah. Yeah, not normal. In-law interference in marriages. That's what this Gadol said was the number one cause of the divorces today. So don't be part of the problem. You're causing misery. So anyway, back to the issue. The mother-in-law should do that. The mother and father-in-law should protect the wife, and that he should listen to his wife. That's number one. But for your situation as the wife whose husband is continually taking the husband's position, you need to have a real heart-to-heart conversation. Not when some incident just happened that you're fighting about. It's got to be, give some space with it. If you're seeing them every day, that's something. If you're seeing them every 3 weeks, then right after you see them, maybe wait a week and then start talking to them. So give some space to it and just say, I'm really not sure what to do. because when you take your mom's and father's side, I know about Kibbut Av V'Em. I'm so in awe of you. Literally, I'm so inspired by how good you are at Kibbut Av V'Em. I learned from it. I think it's beautiful. I think it's fantastic. The kids see. But when you take their side over me, it really hurts me. It really wounds me. It's not the way it's meant to be. I don't even know how to say it. It's Shalom Bayis comes before Kibbut Av V'Em. It just does. It's, I'm not really saying it in a way that he's going to hear and change. So I need to think about this through for a second. It needs to be said in a way that he hears your pain and feels your pain, not that you're chastising him and telling him you're doing it wrong and the Torah says this and you need to do it right. That's totally not the tone you need. The tone you need is more like this is painful for me and I'm not sure how to rectify this. And then you're taking the problem and you're handing it to him. What can we do about this? And he might say, well, I need to have Kibbut Av V'Em and I don't want to hurt my mother's feelings. And like, well, it's either me or your mother then. And you're meant to hurt your mother's feelings before you hurt my feelings. And that he hopefully will have learned that that's how it's supposed to be. But he may not recognize this whole thing. And, there's all kinds of complicating factors. Are the parents giving support? And so he wants to, financially, he doesn't want to hurt their feelings. And if he takes your side over theirs, will they stop the paycheck? There could be a million different factors. His mother might have a manic depressive disorder. And he's afraid if he disagrees with her, she'll go into a pouting for 3 months. Who knows what might be causing him to so clearly violate what the right way to do things. It's a tough situation he's in, but by opening up the dialogue, you'll be able to, Mir Hashem, if you do it in the sweetest, most loving manner, make him a steak first and some delicious potatoes, whatever, but really treat this like a very, very difficult and delicate situation, because it is. Give him all the appreciation and gratitude and about his Kibbut Av V'Em skills and whatever, but you gotta open the dialogue. Okay, I give you a bracha that you should have hatzlacha, and this is very, very crucial and important thing, and it needs to be addressed, because over years it just resentment will build. So okay. This was very, very excellent question. Thank you so much, everybody, for being with us today. It's Leah Richeimer for the Ladies Talk Show, and your homework for the week is one time this week, step out of your normal way of interacting with your husband and just think to yourself, what can I do exactly in this moment to bring out the best in my husband? What can I do to support him and make him feel loved right now in the moment? Okay, it's Leah Richeimer for the Ladies Talk Show. We'll see you next time. If you want more, we have so much more. If you want to learn our Masorah and have an awesome marriage, the first thing we have is a coaching program. If you are awesome with people and you want to know the Masorah better than 99% of the people on the planet Earth, like for reals, okay? It's a 4-month program. It's very intense. We have major scholarships, and we have somebody who's granted in a lot to pay for a big bulk of it. It's still a little expensive, but for what you get, and then you can start charging money to know it. That's the coaching program. Don't miss it. Go to www.ladiestalkshow.com. We do retreats. We do all kinds of stuff. You'll find it there. www.ladiestalkshow.com. Thanks for being with us. Leah Richeimer for the Ladies Talk Show.